Hello, welcome, welcome. I'm Nia, and this is an intro to the Akashic Records. Um, we'll give just a little time for others to join, um, and then we'll get started. Actually, while we're waiting for others to join, I think I'm going to invite us into to ground a little bit, just to bring ourselves here present. So I'm going to invite everyone to just close your eyes and take some deep inhalations and exhalations, your own timing, your own pace, but really letting go on that exhale, really bringing all of you here now into this present moment. Feeling your pelvic floor open and ground down. Just a couple more deep breaths, your own timing, your own pace, bringing yourself here now into this moment, into your body, into this now. And then letting go on that exhale, letting go of any control of the breath, and open your eyes. And we'll go ahead and jump in. So again, I am Nia. This is Intro to the Akashic Records. How today's going to go is we're going to start off, I will start off just explaining a little bit about the Akashic Records, what they are, how they work. And pretty quickly, I like to get into the experience of the Akashic Records quick, like there'll be more explanation and time for questions and things like that. But pretty quickly, we'll move into the experience of it so that you guys can have that because that teaches you so much. So we'll get started. So, what are the Akashic Records? The Akashic Records are a vibrational record of your soul, of every particle of existence, past, present, future, and all possibilities. So basically, it's the all, it's the oneness. In divine, loving, unconditional loving, healing energy. It's a way to connect to your guides, to your angels, to your spirit helpers. It is, it can be used in so many different ways, but the most traditional way is called an Akashic reading, where the person who's channeling the Akashic records is connecting to your own personal guides, angels, spirit helpers, source energy, or whatever you would call that. And you are asking questions, and the reader is most of the time using their senses. So they see things, they get knowings, they hear things, um, and feel things in the body, and they communicate what they are receiving to you. Now, when you go, if you Google the Akashic Records and look at images, you'll see these Akashic libraries, they're called, and they're this angelic looking library or these angelic looking scrolls. Um, that is a way for humans to understand it. Some people do actually go into an Akashic like library and are pulling down books and reading answers, but very rarely is that the case. And when I asked the Akasha why, they just said it's one of the ways that humans can understand things. So when I say it's a vibrational record, what that means is it's not an actual physical place. When I asked them to take me to this Akashic library that people talk about, it's not something that I can totally explain. It was like all this moving energy and a feeling state of like perfect, everything made perfect sense, but it was all this moving energy, dancing, combining in ways and all this beautifulness. So the Akashic records are, again, a vibrational record of your soul's all complete and utter journey and all your possibilities. So when we look at the future in the Akashic Records, we look at it knowing that we are the creators, we are the choosers, and we can change our mind in any moment. Having said that, sometimes the way something comes through in the Akashic Records is so strong, like the likelihood is so powerful. It's like, yeah, this is going to happen. But we still always have to give it as a possibility because, again, free will. We get to change our mind. People talk about contracts. Like Akashic Records says agreements because of that free will. Doesn't mean that you haven't agreed to things and that there aren't things that are you've already kind of predetermined. But it does mean that even with that, you can go, you know what? Changing my mind. Now, much of what we create is done unconsciously. We're shifting that more and more. We're becoming more and more conscious. I'll tell you a fun little story because anyone and everyone can connect and is connected to their guides and angels, and they're communicating with you and they're sending you signs and they're knocking on the door and you know you move with them through the intuition and through different ways. Now, when I was very little, I had a special room that I would go to, and it was a dream. It was so young that I didn't realize it was a dream at the time, but it had these floating stones that I would climb up, and at the top was this amazing, loving, adoring man. He had white long hair and a white beard and would wear these like white robes, and I just loved him. And when I thought of that room consciously when I was awake and was like, oh, I want to go there, that's when I realized it was a dream. And when I realized it was a dream, I stopped going there. I never went there again. I didn't see him anymore. And so here I am in my Akashic Records training class, and my teacher has us, this is some 25 years later. My teacher has us open the Akashic Records for the first time and has us have a guide step forward. And of course, there he is. So even without any training, I was already connected to him. And if I hadn't closed that door, I could have, and I was still communicating with him in ways that I wasn't aware of. And the Akashic Records just made that communication stronger and more, on a conscious level. So anyone and everyone is already talking to their guides and angels, whether they realize it or not. And anyone and everyone can come into a deeper conversation through practices, through the Akashic Records, through different things. So I want to go ahead and jump into the experience, and then I will talk more about the Akashic Records and how they work and how you can use them and different things like that. But I want to get the experience. So I'll just tell you that to open the Akashic Records, I say a ceremony. There's a little time where I'm silent offering that ceremony, and then I start speaking again. And in this, what we're doing, we're going to start with just bringing in some of the healing energy of the Akashic Records and then go on a little bit of a journey. I won't tell you what that journey is going to be. I want it to be more of a surprise journey. But you're just going to follow along. You're going to use your senses. You're going to use your imagination to follow along. You're going to see, feel, sense, know, trust, and just follow along with what I'm guiding you to see, sense, feel, trust. Now, every now and then, your guides will have a different agenda. Sometimes I open up the Akashic Records and lead people on this guided journey, and their guides are like, nope, that's not what you need right now. We're doing this. And so if you'll know if that happens, it's not like your mind wandering, it's like you'll know. And if that happens, you can just completely ignore me and move with the Akashic Records in whatever way they're inviting you to move with them. So we'll do questions after. So I do, though, does anyone have any questions about what we're about to do? Not about the Akashic Records or how they work, but just a question about what we're going to go into right now. You can raise your hand if you do. Okay. Okay, we'll get started then. So again, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and start to take some deep breaths, letting go on that exhale, centering in again, calling all of you back to you into this moment, into this now. And then letting go of any control of the breath. As I offer this ceremony, you can just be noticing, sensing, becoming aware. I open the records in love. I open the records in light. I open the records for the greatest good of all. I invite all Akashic beings, angels, guides, masters, and teachers of this group to be here now. I invite all guidance, all knowing, and all truth to be here for this group. And I ask that a channel of connection be established for all love, light, and healing to flow from the Akasha to this group now. The records are open in love. The records are open in light. The records are open for the greatest good of all. So you can begin by imagining, seeing, sensing a golden sun above your head. You can come into the knowing that this golden sun holds the Akashic healing energy. And you're going to see this light, this love, this energy dripping down, floating down from the sun. And you can invite the top of your head, your crown chakra, to open wide and start to feel as this light comes in. Feel it softening the forehead and saturating the mind. Feel it easing the third eye open, clearing, releasing hair. Feel it moving through the mind, creating new pathways, easing old, worn out ones. Feel as it moves into the jaw and relieves all tension, all gripping hair. The light, this love, this energy moving down the neck, easing the neck muscles and gently opening the expression center, your voice activating, rising. More of this light, more of this love coming in. Feel now as it moves into the shoulders and invites a deep relaxation here. Inviting you to put down all burden, all weight, all that you carry. The light beginning to pour into the heart center, inviting the heart to open to receive this light, this love, this healing energy. The light moving through all the crevices and corners of the heart, widening, opening, expanding, clearing, healing. Notice as the light begins to pour down the spine. Feel the spine melting, relaxing, easing down. Notice the spinal fluid flowing freely, clearing out, releasing. Feel this light in the solar plexus, the power center, inviting your will for you, inviting you to stand in all that you are and all that is true and real of you. The light moving into the belly, releasing and shedding anything that you carry here. Notice now as the light begins to move into the pelvic region, the hips gently opening, pelvis grounding down in relaxation. The light moving down the legs, softening the thighs and the hamstring, relaxing the knees, shins, and calves. More of this light, more of this love, moving into the ankles now, and the feet and toes. Just feel as every cell of your body receives this light, this love, this relaxation, this healing energy. Every particle of you, every moment of you. And you can also start to notice the light moving down around you, filling your auric field, filling the space around you so that you are covered in light, in a cocoon of light. The light inside of you meeting the light outside of you, boundaries disappearing, so that you are this light, this love, this healing energy. You can feel it inside of you. You can feel it in front of you, behind you. You can feel it above you and below you, to the right and to the left of you. And you can start to imagine the spiraling staircase that goes down. You're going to start to walk down and around this staircase. With each step, you're moving deeper and deeper inside of you. With each step, you're letting go more and more. Keep walking down and around, step after step, moving deeper and deeper, letting go more and more. Down and around, down and around, deeper and deeper. You can notice the staircase coming to an end, and as you reach the end, you walk out onto a landing and notice a beautiful door in front of you. You can come into the knowing that just beyond this door are your guides and angels, your helpers. When you're ready, open this door and greet them, meet them, see them, sense them, feel them to whatever degree you can is perfect. Open your trust, your imagination, and your senses. Open your receivers. See them, sense them, feel them. Feel their adoration, their unconditional love. Come into the knowing that they are your greatest cheerleaders, and that they are here to support you, to love you, to guide you to where you want to go. And they are inviting you to come into an embrace with them, to sit in circle perhaps, to just let them love on you. Perhaps you can hear some messages that they have for you. Perhaps they are inviting you to come into rest with them, where there is nothing that you need to do or not do, nothing you need to think or not think, and no need to try. We're going to let the energy move on its own for a few minutes. Feel free to move with them in any way that feels good, or again, to just come into that not doing space. They are moving through you, helping you to heal what needs to be healed, helping you to clear what needs to release, helping you in whatever way you need it. Very gently, very slowly, starting to come back to the sound of my voice, knowing that you can be with them in this way whenever you choose. You can start to just give some gratitude and start to say your goodbyes. Not that they're going anywhere. No. Gently and slowly, you can start to bring your awareness back to your space, taking all the time you need, not moving a single muscle until your being, your body is ready to do so. They are ecstatic to be your guides, ecstatic that you came here today to know them deeper, hear them better. Again, taking all the time you need. And that is one way of moving with the Akashic Records. As I said before, the most common way is Akashic readings. And people do, mini readings, they do hour-and-a-half readings. That's the most common. But there is this healing energy and this guidance and this work that you can do in the Akashic Records for groups like this. So there is more that I want to share with you. Maybe I'll do that before we move into questions. So first of all, without the Akashic Records, how can you come into a deeper relationship with your guides and angels? There's a couple things that I recommend. One of the easiest ways to communicate with your guides is through oracle cards. They will help you pick the card that has a message for you from them. Another way is, well, let me start with this. I forgot they wanted me to mention this. So some of you may have had really deep experiences and really felt like you connected with your guides and your angels. And some of you may have felt blocked or like you got a little sense, but not as much as you wanted. We get in our way. We have a doubter inside of us. When I teach the Akashic Records, that is the biggest block that people have, is how loud that doubter is. Because a lot of times the information is coming gently and softly. It can be a whisper. It can be, in a communicated in a very soft way. And we have been taught that it's not real. We've been taught to justify things. Oh, I didn't just hear that or see that or feel that. That was just me making it up, or different things like that. And so that really is kind of the biggest obstacle people have in reading the Akashic Records or just communicating in general with their guides and angels, is disbelief or having that doubter get in the way. And so one of the ways that you can get out of your own way is by asking a question right before you're going to fall asleep, like at night before you go to bed. And oftentimes the answer will come in a dream, or you'll just wake up knowing the answer. And it's because you got out of the way. When we're sleeping, we're not in our way so much. We're in that dream space. We're in that imagination space. We're in that space where spirit really communicates. And so that's another good way as a beginner to connect with your guides and angels. But they're always communicating with you. They send me, angel numbers, I'm sure people have heard of. They definitely communicate through angel numbers or through signs. Some people know that when they see a butterfly, it's their guides, or a deer, or something like that. There's a connection. The Akashic Records themselves is like, well, the way that my very psychic friend who had done 4 years of psychic training talked about the Akashic Records. She said when she did the Akashic Records training, it was like going from dial-up to DSL. So for those of you who don't know what that means, it's like from going from, not a really good connection, kind of slow, kind of hard, to like, it's all there, it's all easy, it's fast. And so learning to read the Akashic Records does help you, help your psychic abilities, help you tap in more to, oh, that's so fun. Thank you, Jana. Just before you started our journey, the clock was at 11:11. That's so fun. I love that. We're right. We're in. They're saying yes. So, oh, I forgot what I was saying, but thank you. That was really fun. So it does, help you really in your psychic abilities, in your ability to communicate with your guides and angels. Now, for most people, it's easier to read someone else's records than it is to read your own, for most people. And that's again because we get in the way. We get in the way of the answers. We're like too invested in what the answer is. And honestly, there's times, you get, the more you practice, the better and better you get, the easier it is to read your own records. I read my own records all the time. And there's times where I'm like, I didn't see that. I don't actually want to follow that guidance, so I'm just going to pretend that wasn't there. Or there are times where I can't see something and I just trust and know that I'm really not supposed to, that it's not for me to know. And the same thing is like when I'm reading someone's records, I can't see anything that they don't actually want to see. Consciously, they may want to see it, there's an unconscious part that might want to. It doesn't happen all that often, but it can happen. So I think I'm going to open it up to questions. Who has a question about the Akashic Records that I can answer? There's a little, if you think it's under more, and then maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe for you guys it's under more, and then you hit like the hand raising emoji. Otherwise, I can just tell you more. Oh, do you need to close the records after you go there? Yes. I'm leaving them open because I want to continue communicating, but I will close them either before we end together, or sometimes I just close them after. So there's a ceremony that you say to open them and a shorter ceremony that you say to close them. And you can be reading the records when you're in the Akashic Records. You can be, one of the things I used to do all the time was take a bath, and I'd open up the Akashic Records and just be like, there's something called the Akashic Healing Room. We each have our own Akashic Healing Room. And I'd ask them to take me to my Akashic Healing Room and just like soak in the energy and just be like, I mean, it's amazing. It's beautiful. You can be writing or painting or doing something creative and moving with the energy of the Akashic Records. There's a lot of different things. Okay, we have a couple more. How to interpret angel numbers. Sometimes, a lot of times for me, it's just them like if I'm having a hard day or something, I'll see more angel numbers, and it's just them like being like, you're okay, we're here, we got you, and I can just feel it as a loving thing. Sometimes it does have a message in it, and you can look up, if you Google online, what does 222 mean, 333, they're not always in alignment with, they're not always trying to communicate in that way where if you see a particular number it means a particular thing, but sometimes they are, and you just use your intuition to know which one it is. I find probably about 50% of the time that I see, because I see angel numbers like ridiculous amounts of times, and I would say about 50 or more percent of the time that I see angel numbers, it's a hello, it's a we got you, it's a I can just feel them like just sending me some love. What are the benefits of reading the records or asking someone to read them for you? Guidance. There's so much guidance in there. It helps you get to where you want to go. It helps you understand old pains, old traumas. I can't tell you the number of times I'm reading someone's records, and we're just doing a traditional reading, but even through that reading, there's tears coming as they're releasing something or gaining something back to them. A lot of times I'm doing a reading and they'll be like, that's what I thought. And so there's like confirmation. They just want confirmation to know I am doing it right. I am on my path, or this really big decision that I'm making is in alignment, is true, is real, is what I need to follow. There's a lot more that you can do in the Akashic Records. So I have 3 levels of training. I have the first level, which is basically you're learning to read your records and other people's records, and learning how to do that. You don't learn group work. I do maybe sometimes a little group work in the first class, but mainly you're just learning how to read the records and maybe move a little bit with the healing energy as well. The second level, the advanced level, you learn to do things within the Akashic Records. There's Akashic past life regression. So a lot of times people come in with things that, well, I'll give an example. There was a lady who didn't have full range of voice. Like basically she couldn't scream. She couldn't really get angry to the point where she was talking loudly or scream or anything like that. And every healer she ever went to was like, you have a throat chakra block, throat chakra block. And she was ready and she came to me and they showed me through unconditional love. They showed me a past life, or if you don't believe in past lives, an ancestor, however you want to move with it, um, where she was a little baby screaming, crying, so angry, so hungry, and like just screaming at the top of her lungs. And the uncle who was with her got so frustrated that he put a rag in her mouth and she suffocated and died. And so through this past life regression, we healed that. And after the session, she had her full voice again. And I get shivers every time I tell it because it's so powerful and so beautiful. So great healing can occur in the Akashic Records. So you learn how to do past life regression in the records. You learn how to do inner child healing in the records, lineage clearing, and these different things. So the records can be used in or partnered with in so many different ways for healing. It can help unblock chakras. Yeah, definitely. That's something that you can move with in the Akashic Records. How long is the training to be able to read? So we have a training coming up. April 2nd is when it starts. It's a 3-week training. And I think it's Tuesday, I think is the day. So that's a 3-week training. My Akashic Records teacher at the time didn't really have advanced levels and stuff. So I learned to read the Akashic Records, and then the Akashic Records taught me a lot of different things. They taught me past life regression. They taught me inner child healing. They taught me all these different things. So I don't copyright things. I always, you don't ever have to take the advanced level or the teacher level, and you can become an amazing Akashic Records practitioner without that. But I love to offer the advanced level so you can learn these techniques that they've taught me. And that's a 6-week series. And the teacher level is a 4-week series. So those are the different trainings. If you see angel numbers fairly often throughout the day, how do you decipher if that is simply you mentally seeing an angel number message to make yourself feel better versus a real message? That's the doubter. That's like a perfect example of the doubter. Oh, this is just me. This is just me seeing an angel number and it doesn't mean anything and it's not my guides. It's really trusting that the universe is magical and that your guides and your angels and your helpers want to communicate and want to give you that support and that love and that. So it's really just it's choosing to believe, quite honestly. That's fun. Does your Akashic room stay the same or does it shift image wise? How do you build confidence that you are there? It definitely, for me at least, it shifts. And the first time I went to my Akashic healing room, I was very aware of like what it looked like and stuff. Now it's like I don't even notice. I just feel and I'm like, oh. I'll tell you another story. I broke my foot, and the way I broke it, I needed to be off it for 4 weeks completely. And then the doctor said in one of those boots for another 4 to 6 weeks or however long it took to heal. And I'm Reiki certified as well. So of course I Reiki'd it. But I also had them take me to my Akashic healing room and work on it. And I could literally feel movement in my foot as they worked on it. And after 4 weeks, they x-rayed it and it was completely healed. I didn't need to go into one of those boots. So yes, it can change how it looks and be different. And it's more about a feeling state and what they're offering to you while you are there. Do your Akashic records coincide with another's? As in, if one says in past life you did XYZ, how to best verify or will they line up if you investigate that yourself? I think you mean like, I think what you mean is, well, maybe you can tell me if you mean something different. But yeah, I think, okay. Well, let me go to them for this one. Do your Akashic records coincide with another? It should, yeah. They're saying as long as you've gone to someone reputable, someone who is tapped in, you know, sadly in our world there are charlatans and things. Um, but usually when I am bringing up a past life, so the Akashic records will only bring up a past life if it is relevant to the now. People are just curious and they'll ask about past lives and they'll give answers. But the only way the Akashic records will bring it up themselves is if it's relevant, somehow affecting your now moment. Um, but I've definitely had people, you know, I give a past life, and people will be like, yeah, I've been to that past life before and da 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 whatever. So it is common for people to have already know about a past life, either through themselves or through another source. I hope that answers your question. What oracle cards do you recommend? Um, my favorites, oh, what is it called? Um, wow, I can't believe it. I've had these cards for like 20 years and they're my favorites. Um, and I'm totally blanking on their name right now. They're from Australia, and I think it's Direction of the Four Winds. I will have them in the email they send out. I will put a couple recommendations in there. I'll send that out because I'm blanking on the exact name. Um, okay, hold on. Do you have some other suggestions for building better relationship with your angels and guides? Also, if you're more claircognizant and clairsentient, is it common that you won't be able to visualize them as well? Yeah, some people. So a few things. Anything else on building your relationship with your guides? Yeah, no, I don't like that one. Hold on. Hmm. Well, what they're saying is like talk to them. Talk to them like you trust that they're there, that you know that they're there. Um, Ask them for help with things. Really, even if you don't feel like you get messages or answers, like talk to them anyway. Ask for help anyway. It really is the even whether you're learning to read the Akashic records or you're just trying to communicate more with them, the biggest thing you can do is have tell your doubter to go sit down. You don't need her or him or them for this. And then, yes, some people don't see anything. That's just not the way it's communicated. They'll hear, or some people just have knowings. They don't know where the answer came from. They just know. Some people feel different sensations in the body that give them messages. Sometimes they're smelling and tasting, but usually it's the other um, senses. And some people, I remember one lady who she would just see she would read the answer on like a flashing light board. That's the way they communicated with her. Yes and no questions are fun. I see a line, and if it's yes, it falls to the right, and if it's no, it falls to the left. But I have my favorite is a lady who, you know, those things that are at fairs that you hit and it goes up and rings the bell. If it How high it goes up is how high of a yes it is. If it doesn't go up, then it's a no. It's a cute one. So there's but yeah, some people just hear things. I'm a little bit of everything. I see a lot. I hear things. I just know things. But one isn't necessarily better than the other. Some people are like, they're reading the records great, they're hearing the answer or just knowing the answer or whatever, and they're like, but I want to see. And it's like, it's okay, you're as long as you get the answer, you know, it doesn't matter which way it comes. Was accused of kidnapping a former lover in a past life, led to a lot of turmoil. I just can't verify it myself. Yeah, that's a hard one. I remember going to a past life where I was like, wow, this is the first past life I've been to where I was a jerk. I just did not like me. Um, I think I wouldn't, the only reason, if I was in the records and that came forward, the only reason they would bring it up would be because it's somehow affecting you, and we would do healing around it so that you weren't in turmoil around it. Someone just I I would say someone just giving you that information and not doing anything with it wasn't honoring. Um, and you don't know, because they just gave it to you that way. I would say maybe it's not true. Um, yeah, I would look into that with someone a little bit more prepared to move with it. I feel like I get intuitive messages, but I'm not sure how to make sense of them. For example, a throat sensation that is soft versus a similar sensation but harder in the same location. How would you improve your intuition understanding? So I usually would ask them to communicate the same thing in another way. If I'm having trouble reading something, um, I would ask them, okay, can you I feel that I would say I feel the sensation and stuff. I'm not understanding. Can you answer the same question in another way? That's one way. Um, it is like if you're just a sensation person, it is a little bit harder because you have to figure out what those sensations mean. And the best way to do it is practice, 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 practice. This modality, like Reiki, is, you get attuned to Reiki and pretty much you put your hands on or near someone and or something, and it's like Reiki, and it's pretty easy, basically. Akashic Records definitely takes practice. Some people are their doubter's not as loud, and so right away they're pretty good at it. Um, but everyone, it definitely it's a practice modality, and whether you're learning to read the Akashic Records or you're just trying to communicate better with your guides, it takes practice. So practice would be my kind of biggest recommendation. Oh, good, thank you. Is going into a healing room a different process than going down the stairs that we did? Well, I I didn't tell you we were going to the Akashic healing room, but when you opened that door, that was where you were going, was the Akashic healing room. So um I don't have to take you down the stairways. That's to help you kind of go deeper and deeper within yourself. That's something they gave to me to use in certain ways to help people go deeper and deeper within. Some people say it's similar to like a hypnosis kind of thing that people do sometimes. But no, when I ask them to take me to my Akashic healing room, I'm just like, take me to my Akashic healing room, and they do, and I feel the energy and let it and move with it. Is it possible you can be a guide as well as in human form in this dimension? Yes. We had a really fun class where that actually happened. It was I'd never seen it before. Um, I can't remember even exactly what happened because I was so in the records. But basically, someone who was in that class was actually a guide of another person who was in that class, not in her human form, not as she was showing up here and now, but her essence, her spirit, or whatever you want to call it, was actually one of her guides. So, yes, that is possible. Any other questions? Yeah, thank you. Definitely. Is practicing reading for yourself or someone else better than the other? Um, it's since if it is easier for you to read someone else than it is to read yourself, practicing reading others builds your confidence, and and you get better and better, and it's easier to read yourself. So I would say practicing reading someone else is going to be more beneficial to help you read yourself, since it's harder to read yourself. If you're someone who, every now and then I get someone who's like, no, it's much easier to read myself than it is to read others, then the opposite would be true. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Yeah, I do private readings the on the 17th. We're doing a special mini readings. I want to say, I forgot how much they were, or how much time, but it's on the 17th we're doing that. Normally it's $222 for an hour reading, but I sometimes do specials and stuff. And we are on March 17th, we're doing a special. We'll send you the information for that, because it's like a mini reading for a smaller amount. So it's a nice special, a nice introduction to Akashic readings. Can you do health readings? Yes. You can ask absolutely anything in the records. And we've definitely well, my favorite story with that is a lady who had stage 4 cancer. And they showed me, I worked with her, and they showed me that the cancer was a direct result of, I can't even remember what exactly it was, but something she was carrying. I think it was what is that called? Not grief about her mother, shame, like she felt bad, guilt and shame, something around her mother with guilt and shame. And we moved with that, healed that, and the cancer went away. So yes, you can do look at health stuff in the Akashic Records, definitely. Anything else before we close? Let me see if they have anything. They're just they, when I open up the Akashic Records, it's like the excitement, the unconditional, like all of it, it's just so beautiful. And they're just, right now, they're just cheering you all and just so excited and want you to know how much you're loved, and how much you're supported, and how much you're not ever alone. They like to joke sometimes. Um, if you realized how much you weren't alone, you might you might be like, wait a minute, because they really are. I mean, they'll give you privacy, don't get me wrong, and they're with you. They're with you always, even in the darkest moments. It's actually us who can block things, with that and stuff. They're all honoring, so they'll listen to you always, 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 always. Is the process for reading for yourself and others the same? Yes, it is. It's basically just asking questions and then getting the information. I've never had someone who had a different experience reading their own records, like the way it was communicated. I've never had someone find that it was different reading for themselves or reading for someone else. The way it was communicated, the process was always the same. Well, thank you so much. Oh, what's the first thing you ask or say when you see an image? Sometimes I get excited and I start to interpret, and I wonder if I'm being genuine in my interpretation. Ask them. That's one of the biggest things that I talk about in the Akashic Records training. That first training is to simply ask them, well, I feel like it's just coming from me. Well, ask them, is this coming from me, or is this a message from you guys? With this image, do you mean da 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 da, or is it something else? So those yes and no questions if you get your yes and no down, you can get so much more information. There's different ways to get yes and no's. I gave you a couple of them. Those were both sight. People with sensation sometimes do right hand is yes, left hand is no, and they'll feel more in their hand. In the right hand, if it's a yes, feel more in their left hand if it's a no. But yeah, finding a way to get yes and no questions can really help you come into conversation where you're really saying, is it this or is it that? Did you mean this? Did you mean that? Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. It was such a joy to be with you all. Um, I hope to see you all again. I do have class every similar to what we did today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, every Wednesday at 5:30, I have a half hour Akashic journey, meditation healing. So that's always available. Like I said, I do readings. We do have the Akashic Records training coming up. Thank you so much. You all are so wonderful. I really appreciate it. I love my job. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You all have a great time. If you need to find me, turn your shine on. If you have other questions that come up, turn your shine on at Gmail, turn your shine on Instagram. And we have another question. Hi, Mia. Is it possible to use a pendulum for yes and no within the Akashic Records reading? I found it challenging to connect on my own. It is possible. And as an Akashic Records reader, I try to get people to not rely on something like that, but you definitely can. Because I'm teaching people to read the Akashic Records, I want them to be able to try to do that. So I mean, it's not. I am the kind of person. It's like, don't do what I say. Do whatever is best for you. So if that's what you wanted to do, then I would say that's fine. But I would try to help you so that you could do it without that. Okay. Thank you again. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. You all are awesome. Hope to see you all soon. Bye.